Oh, baby. Oh, man. Do we have some reactions to go through today? I'm Sport Crypto Blood. I'm going to be breaking down 5 clips from the legendary, epic interview that Donald Trump did with Joe Rogan. I actually saw it come across my YouTube suggestion feed at about midnight Eastern Standard Time over here in the D. So you know what I had to do. I had to start that bad boy. It was 3 hours, so I stayed up to about 3:30 last night watching this bad boy. Absolutely amazing. And the whole time I'm sitting there, you know, I'm hearing some things I never heard from. By the way, Joe Rogan, the GOAT. I thought that Pat Bet David did an excellent job, but Joe Rogan, man, he takes it to the next level. Never fails you. Never fails you. But the whole time I was thinking, damn, Kamala couldn't hang for an hour with this guy. Like, you just can see the disingenuousness, if that's a word, that comes out of the Kamala camp. She couldn't do it. And they had some lame excuse about conflict of schedule to be on the biggest podcast in the world. You got a conflict of scheduling? Yeah. You don't really want to win this race, Kamala. You really don't. Anyway, let's start with the first clip, and I'll give you my reaction. Let's go.
Of you when you were on The View, and I think it was 2015 or 2006, like when you were running for president.
Right.
And you got introduced as our friend Donald Trump.
That's right.
Whoopi Goldberg gives you a big hug and a kiss. Joy Behar gives you a big hug. Barbara Walters gives you a big hug. They all loved you. They were all talking about how you're, you might be conservative in your financial positions, but you're very liberal socially. They were talking about you in such a favorable light. The audience was cheering. And then you actually started winning in the polls, and then the machine started working towards you. Yeah. But there's probably no one in history that I've ever seen that's been attacked the way you've been attacked, and the way they've done it, so coordinated and systematically. And when you see those same people in the past, very favorable to you, like Oprah, when you were on Oprah's show,
very.
She was encouraging you to
Last
be president.
week.
But does he really want to add president of the United States to his resume? A lot of people would like him to. Please, let's find out, and please welcome my friend, Donald Trump.
My friend.
My friend. Watch this. Just watch this. This is nuts. We're in an alternative universe. Okay? Because this is not that long ago.
9 years.
Go standing O.
Bro, watch this. Just watch how this goes. Watch this. So she's a Republican. That's easy.
Yeah.
But everybody else.
Look at Joy.
Hugs.
Can't wait to get a hug in.
Yeah, everyone's hugging. Look at this. Look at this. Kisses, hugs, kisses to Whoopi. Everybody hugs and kisses. Even Joy Behar. Hugs
Even
and
Joy
kisses.
Behar hugs and kisses.
See? Now, watch this.
So I'm going to take you at your word that you have not decided yet when you're going to run, but you're thinking about it, and you've expressed some of your views, which are controversial and in many ways, but
not to her.
Well, not to her. Okay, you're a Republican, so, but let's say that you do decide in the spring, right? And your ideas resonate so much. On the other hand, you know, we saw Newt Gingrich apologizing for his marriages and divorces. You've had 3 marriages, 2 sort of uncomfortable divorces. Do you think that the...
Not really. They were very comfortable.
Do you think
Getting laughs right away.
that would bother anybody?
I think the country is doing so badly, they want somebody that's going to help it. I think the country is never been in a position like it is right now. It's being ripped off by every nation, every intelligent nation in the world, whether it's China. They're taking our jobs, they're making all our product, and then they loan us back the money, we pay them interest.
That is
Whether
crazy.
it's OPEC.
That's crazy.
Oh, that's crazy.
Look at this. Watch this.
Field day right now. How about the Arab League? They say, we want you to go in and attack Libya. These are the wealthiest countries in the world. Why aren't they paying us?
Okay,
Why
so
aren't
then they change their minds also.
But you didn't answer my question.
No, I did answer your question. I really think
it won't
people.
matter?
I think maybe 10 years ago it would have mattered. 5 years ago.
Yeah.
The fact is, I think people want somebody now that's going to protect them and protect this country, because we're not going to be a great country for long if we keep going the way we're going right now.
The audience cheers.
Yeah.
So many of the things I say, now politicians are saying, hey, that's right. Why don't we, why aren't they paying us? If you look at North Korea, South Korea, We're protecting South Korea. They're making a fortune. Let's call it hundreds of billions of dollars of profit on us. We have 25,000 soldiers over there protecting them. They don't pay us. Why are they paying us?
You'd be treating this like a business.
No, a business with heart.
Okay.
Believe me, there's a lot of heart. It's a business, but it's also a business with heart. We will destroy this country. It won't be a war. If the economics of this country keep going the way they're going, we're not going to have a country.
You're kind of a social liberal, Donald. You know, you're a social liberal. Could you actually get the base to vote for you in the primary?
Well, every poll is saying that I'm the one that does the best. They're doing polls.
They actually have you a higher approval rating than Mitt Romney, Tim Pawlenty, John Boehner. But out of those,
So let's just pause and think.
So there you have it. And this is what I was talking about, and what I've expressed to so many people over the years. Like, y'all got like amnesia or some type of MK Ultra mind control program going on over your bodies in mass, because it's like before 2016, all the rappers love Trump. They talking about, I sit on a gold Trump toilet, I got gold this, I'm in the Trump tower, all this stuff, partying with Trump, Al Sharpton getting donations, Trump helped fund his campaign, and Jesse Jackson, all these people, Oprah. This is the one I used to use back in the day when he was running the first time. I used to say, you guys forget that Jennifer Hudson, she had a complete family nightmare where her mother, I think her sister, were killed by this deranged boyfriend. What did Trump do? Put her up in Trump Towers in Chicago for a whole year or some change, rent free. And she hit her back on him when he ran. So it's just like, damn, bro, this is crazy. This is crazy how people have flip-flopped. Let's go to the next clip, because I got some good ones. This clip here, guys, is what Kamala failed to do when asked what mistake she made. She sat up there and said she made the mistake of studying too much and wanting to know all the details and stuff. That's not a mistake. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Let's listen to what Trump said as he self-reflected on some of the mistakes he made in his first campaign.
The biggest mistake I made was I picked some people. I picked some great people, but you don't think about that. I picked some people that I shouldn't have picked. I picked a few people that I shouldn't have picked. And
neocons?
Yeah, neocons, or bad people, or disloyal people, or
people that were just
people
bad,
that were into the
people got bad advice.
Yeah, you're reading about him a little bit today. A guy like Kelly, who was a bully, but a weak person. You know more about bullies than anybody probably around, because you deal in a certain sport where the bullies are exposed very quickly.
Yeah.
But he's bad. Bolton was an idiot, but he was great for me, because I'd go in with a guy like a John Bolton. John Bolton. A friend of mine called me up. I was picking Bolton, and he's a very smart guy. His name is Phil Ruffin. He's a very rich guy from Las Vegas. He's a great card player. He doesn't play cards, but he's a great player. He's just a natural. Got poker sense, right? The good old poker sense. And Phil Ruffin is a very, very wise kind of a guy, and one of the richest people around, and has had great success and understands people. So it was in that I was picking Bolton, or I picked Bolton. He called up. He said, "Don't pick him. Why? He's a bad guy." Now, he wasn't in politics at all. He's in various businesses. He said, "He's a bad guy. It always works out bad with that guy." And I said, "Oh man, I wish you told me this 2 weeks ago. I already hired him. He's here," and he was right. But he was good in a certain way. He's a nut job, and every time I had to deal with a country, when they saw this whack job standing behind me, they said, "Oh, man, Trump's going to go to war with us." He was with Bush when they went stupidly into the Middle East. They should have never done it. I used to say it as a civilian. So I always got more publicity than other people, and it wasn't like I was trying. In fact, I don't know exactly why. Maybe you can tell me why.
Oh, I could definitely tell you. You said a lot of wild shit.
Maybe.
So, a candid response to a question that Kamala failed. Listen, this is bad. This is bad for Kamala, because she's not going to do the Rogan show. We already know it. I can bet $1,000 she's not going to do the Rogan show. She can't hang. everything is scripted. She's fake, ladies and gentlemen, and the country is finally waking up to that point, and that's cool. But I just want to see the reactions of Americans when they steal the election. Still think they're going to do that. I think there is a clip we may look at that talks about that, but great response there. And so this next one is talking about that very point about elections and denials, and Rogan says this is common. Let's take a listen to what Trump had to say about this.
One of the things that was fascinating also was the denial of the election results is a pretty common thing. Hillary Clinton famously denied that and she called you an illegitimate president, and she said that Russia put you in place.
Even though she conceded.
Yes.
You know, she conceded the night of the election because she was beaten.
Yes, and it was a thing that was pretty common for people, especially Democrats, to deny the elections. There's been many of them. The Bush administration, the dangling chads, all that stuff.
Well, look at these guys in Congress. All these sleazebags in Congress that are Democrats, they're still denying 2016. But now they don't so much because, you know, they try and pin it on me. You don't hear them say,
but here's my
but they
point.
denied it right up until the end.
My point is, this idea of election fraud is a forbidden topic, and you get labeled an election denier. It's like being labeled an anti-vaxxer if you question some of the health consequences that people have had from the COVID-19 shots. Oh my God, you're an anti-vaxxer. If you say, and what I say publicly, and I've said this a lot, it's not 0%. So if you ask me what is the amount of election fraud in this country, is it 0%? No one thinks it's 0%. I've never met one person, not a super liberal, progressive, far left person or a right-wing conservative. Not one person thinks it's 0%. They think when you have human beings, and also you have a lot of weirdness that was going on during the 2020 elections, particularly with mail-in ballots.
And you had legislatures that had to approve, and they didn't approve, and they went out and did it anyway. And you had old-fashioned ballot screwing. I mean, you had you have people going up and dropping in phony votes. You had unsigned ballots, et cetera, et cetera.
There's certain people that think that they have, and there's the rhetoric is also that you're Hitler, and that in order to stop Hitler, you have to do whatever it takes.
That was okay, yeah.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, you're hearing this now. Kamala compared you to, said your love of Hitler yesterday.
And see, what they said at the end there about them bringing that rhetoric back. He's a fascist. He's racist. He's Hitler. They're bringing that back to close out the campaign with Kamala because they want people to do the same thing they did in 2020 by any means necessary on some Malcolm X shit. Make sure he doesn't win. You know, ballot harvesting or whatever you got to do, right? So that's why I think they're closing out the campaign on Kamala's side with he's a fascist. He's like Hitler. He loved Hitler, et cetera, et cetera. It's like a dog whistle. They want to get people to go out there and do the very thing they did in 2020. This one, ladies and gentlemen, coming up is probably the nail in the coffin for Kamala's campaign. Because, see, when you don't go on the show and they talked about this in this interview that Rogan had talked to her campaign, reached out. This is the nail in the coffin. Just like the Al Smith speech where she didn't show up there and he was able to get a lot of jabs in on her. He decimated her in this clip. Watch this.
Also that you're Hitler, and that in order to stop Hitler, you have to do whatever it takes.
That was okay, yeah.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, you're hearing this now. Kamala compared you to, said your love of Hitler yesterday. Kamala's
a very low IQ person. She's a very low IQ. You know, I'm for taking tests, too. I think anybody that runs for president they should give them tests. And it's not an age thing. It's not based. If you look back on history, 70s and 80s, some of you.
How many of you out there agree with this? As the president of the United States, the quote unquote, the leader of the free world, how many of you out there think candidates should take a cognitive test? Absolutely. I think they should. Let me know in the comments what you think.
The greatest leaders in the world history, long-time world history, they were in their 70s and their 80s. But I think you should take cognitive tests. I think everybody, they say it's unconstitutional. But
That's ridiculous.
I think Kamala should have a test because there's something missing. There's something wrong with it.
Well, I think it's pressure. I think the pressure and the scrutiny, you've been a celebrity for a long time and you understand what this is like. But for someone who's in her late 40s, who becomes the vice president, who runs for president, becomes the vice president, and then all of a sudden the weight of the world is on your shoulders and there's all these people paying attention. A lot of people clam up.
But you either have it or you don't.
Correct.
Look, this is an interview. We've covered a lot of territory, right? And you know, it's fine. I don't care. I want to. I think it's much more interesting. To do an interview with Anderson Cooper, a crazy softball interview. She took 2 days off and she studied all day long, and then she comes out with a result that was a real embarrassment. That was a really bad interview. She couldn't answer a question, and every question's not answered. I mean, like, what would you do your first day in office? Okay, I'll build a wall. I won't build a wall. There's 100 things you can say. Just say anything, right? There's something off with her.
And I agree. There is something off with her. I think she's actually suffering from early stage dementia. I'm going to be honest with you, just like Joe. I really do. Like, the cackling, the giggling and stuff uncontrollably. You know, some say that's a nervous reaction or behavior, but it's something more, guys, because her cognitive thought process is just simply not there. It's not coherent many times. And this last one, let's take a look at, wrapping it up, is about the election interference. And Rogan really shocked a lot of people, probably, with agreeing that there were at least 2 instances of election interference in the 2020 election. Let's check it out.
The Russia hoax was a big hoax. It was all a big hoax. So
well, that's clear. That's one example. But that is a good example.
That's a big example. They say it made a 17-point difference. That's a big example. But that's only one. And you could go into the ballots where they wouldn't give you access to the ballots. You could go into the ballot harvesting. You could go into $500 million for the lock boxes.
But just in terms of narrative, so there's 2 things, right? There's the Russia hoax. There's the collusion with Russia that was never proven, right? That's one.
Well, no, it's proven it didn't happen.
Right. Yeah. But they talked about it on
television.
But
it took 2.5 years to prove.
But not only that, but it was a constant narrative on television. So that's a constant narrative that gets into people's minds, especially low information people that just watch the news, that you're in collusion with Russia. So that's one. So that changes the narrative. And then you have the 51 former intelligence agents that work with the original Twitter and get them to remove links. You can't share it on DMs. You cannot share that story. They swept that story because they said it was Russian disinformation, even though they knew it was not.
100%.
So that's 2 examples that are real examples. Now, anyone who considers himself a legitimate, objective observer of American politics, if you really want the best person to win, you would want people to not lie. And the only reason why they got away with this lie was because they continually labeled you as this horrible threat to democracy and Hitler. They kept saying you're going to be a dictator, ignoring the fact that you weren't a dictator for the 4 years where you were actually the president.
Well, there you go, guys. I gave you my top 5 moments in the Joe Rogan Experience with Donald Trump. I'll leave a link in the description to check it out for yourself. It was, again, a 3-hour interview. Boy, it's pretty much over, but I still think they're going to steal the election, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I'm just letting you know. I'm just letting you know. Why wouldn't they? They've tried to kill this guy twice. You think trying to steal an election after they stole the 2021? That's a layup. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a layup. Let me know your thoughts about this. That's my 2 Satoshis. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. Click that bell to receive more videos like this. I'm out of here, people. How?
Yo, it's crypto blood. Detroit flow, streaming from the D, knowing what the show indicators are on point. OG since 12, invested in trade, living